Sperm whales, the largest carnivores on the planet. Of all the giants of the sea, these animals are probably the ones that fascinate us the most. Paradoxically, they are also amongst the least well-known. Hunted and decimated for centuries, they have been very little studied closely under the water. But for several years, determined and passionate scientists have been diving with the same family of sperm whales. They have followed, step by step, the development of the young. They've watched them play. They've seen the personalities of the whales get stronger. They've measured the extraordinary peer support of their social organization. They have begun to pierce the secrets of whale communication. It's at the heart of the Indian Ocean that these incredible encounters are happening. Off the coast of the island of Mauritius. This is a 9-million-year-old volcano, now dormant, the slopes covered with luxuriant vegetation and which rises up under the sea from the ocean floor, which is at a depth of over 3,000 meters. This unique story began when the diver Hugh Vitry swam for the first time with a group of sperm whales. He soon understood that the group of 10 individuals was sedentary and that he could find them again year after year. This discovery opened up unusual possibilities. For the first time in the world, it would be possible to follow these mysterious animals and study them in their environment, diving. For 7 years, researchers, divers, and filmmakers have documented the actions and movements of the sperm whales. Returning for an 8th observation campaign, the team loads their gear aboard the ship of the Marine Megafauna Association. Their mission: to continue the identification of the sperm whales. Do they form a single family, or is there a larger group? This year, genetic analysis will find out. Hugh Vitry, the first to have discovered this group of sperm whales, finds his colleagues aboard. Oceanographer François Sarano from the Longitude 181 Association and cameraman René Houzé. René is a specialist in diving with sharks and large marine mammals. We're in the zone of the sperm whales. I suppose they must be somewhere around there. That's where we saw them yesterday. So the best way to find out would be to get the hydrophone working and then try and find their location. Like every morning for years, first the sperm whales have to be found in the immensity of the ocean. To find them, there's only one option. Listen to the ocean with the help of an underwater microphone. Naveen Bodoni, captain of the ship, immediately hears some clicks. For him, those come from the sperm whales. However, on the surface, not a sign. No jumps or spouts betray the animal's presence. The ocean seems deserted. But Naveen is sure. He must set sail to the south because that's where the cetacean clicks are coming from. Navin was right. The first sperm whale spouts at the surface. This spout, which is particularly directed to the left and front, can't be confused with any other. It reveals the single functioning nostril of this marine mammal. Magnificent.
Hey, look at that one. It's got a dorsal which is completely chewed up.
There are 4 in one.
4 big ones and a little one.
The whales, which have eaten all night long, are full. They're on the surface to lie close to each other and rest for a few hours. Navin brings the boat very close, without disturbing them.
Shall we go in, Hugh?
Let's try and go.
Right, this is it.
Hugues and François find an animal that they haven't seen for months. A year has passed since the last mission, and this first dive is the time for reunions. Interest is immediate, and it's reciprocated. The whale has the whole ocean to itself. It could flee or charge. But it approaches, its stomach turned to the sky. It's in charge of the game, as interested by the men as the men are curious about it. The whale takes its time. It really seems to appreciate this unusual distraction in the vast ocean. At 10 meters depth, René has found other whales that belong to the group. The animals, which have taken up a vertical position that is called candle, let the diver come very near, even while they are sleeping. René floats among the whales. How is this animal society organized? Who are the individuals that make it up? And what are the bonds that unite them? By diving alongside the whales, the team can note down special details, gender, marking, and scars that are invisible from the surface. So, François recognizes each individual at first glance, to such a point that each individual has been given a name or a nickname, like this large adult female whose jaws are twisted to the right and who has been named Crooked Mouth Irene. The team, experiencing something unique, shares the daily life of the whales. Through the years, the team have learnt to keep the right distance, letting them observe but not disturb. By analysing the films shot by the team, François and Marion, the graphic artist, create the identity cards of each individual.
Wow, That's a killer or pilot whale that made those bites because they're the teeth you see there. You see how that works there? Make that very clear because you see those teeth marks very, very clearly.
Marion and François have made 98 identity cards, a tiny fraction of the population in the Indian Ocean. But they have noticed that 26 sperm whales are found systematically together and that they make up a tight-knit group that is separate from the other whales. 17 adult females and 9 young that make up the clan of Crooked-Mouth Irene, a matriarchal clan without adult males. Among the sperm whales, the large adult males only show up once a year. These solitary giants, twice as large as the females, come to reproduce and then leave again. The team finds the open sea again with the desire to go further still, to understand the social structure of this little clan, to determine their family links by genetic analysis, and to try and pierce the secret of the whale's sound communication. Hugues and François recognize the young from Crooked-Mouth Irene's clan, Elliot and Whiteflash, 2 7-year-old immature males. Zoe, a young 5-year-old female, and the newborn Shesna, who is only just a month old. These 4 have very close relationships, which are expressed by tender stroking and caresses. Hours are spent rubbing up against each other every day. Contrary to appearances, the skin of these whales is fine and extremely sensitive to the slightest contact. Beyond the pleasure which this physical contact no doubt brings, they may also express family links or social hierarchy. Elliot and Whiteflash, almost inseparable since their birth in 2011, have had their relationship changed by the arrival of Shesna, Whiteflash's little sister. Paying less attention to Elliot, Whiteflash has become a particularly attentive and delicate big brother. But Elliot doesn't like sharing. He tries to get in between the brother and sister. He slips his big round head in to once again be caressed. Whiteflash is careful not to injure his companion with his little emerging teeth. When he is adult, each of these teeth will weigh more than 1 kilo. Hugues and François have spotted 2 other whales, 2 young males playing together. Ali, born just 3 months ago, whose fluke is marked with white splashes. And another young male, 5 years older than Ali, Arte, whose caudal fin has had its left tip cut off by a predator. The 2 seem to have adopted each other and never part. This is how personal relationships are created within the group. And these can last for years. Ali, like all newborn, is covered with suckerfish, which stick to him thanks to their dorsal fin transformed into a sucker. These fish then get carried about without effort and feed on parasites and droppings. Young Ali doesn't seem to notice them. He spends most of his time flapping about on the surface. The whole clan gathers. The matriarch takes the lead of the group and sets off to the south, the hunting ground for squid. The matriarch isn't the most powerful or the oldest of the females, but it's her that seems to coordinate the clan's activity most often. And the matriarch of this group is Crooked Mouth Irene. We know little about social hierarchy in this very special matriarchal society. How is it established? How is it organized? So many questions that the team wants to answer. But today, when Crooked Mouth Irene takes off, the other females and the young follow. The group can swim over 50 kilometers in a day to get to the spots which are the richest in food. And that food needs to be there in plenty. Each female adult eats around 450 kilos of squid each day. It takes nearly 10 tons of cephalopods to satisfy the clan. The first females, those that don't have newborn, dive for the hunt. The young, unable to follow their elders into the depths, gather together on the surface to be less vulnerable in case they are attacked by killer whales, for example. To place her son Arthur in safety before she dives, Crooked Mouth Irene leaves him in the company of the other little ones. The young sperm whale is reluctant to leave his mother. Then finally he joins his companions, who are gathered under the attentive watch of another female who will go hunting later. And in the clan of Crooked Mouth Irene, it's Germaine, recognizable by her pectoral fin, which is partly split, who guards the young. Germaine is a young adult female, probably the youngest of the clan. By analyzing the videos of the Marine Megafauna Association, François could show that since 2011, Germaine, more than any other female, looks after the newborn and young. A really exceptional discovery. In this new expedition, the team again observes Germaine accompanying two little ones, Ali and Darren. For François, this confirms Germaine's role in the clan.
Thanks, Hugues.
That's fine.
Germaine, the nanny.
It's her that was behind.
Yes, it's her that looks after Ali. That's why we saw Mina all alone.
Okay.
That's because she looks after him. She looks after him like she looked after Baptiste last year and Miss Tautu the year before. One female in all the clan who looks after all the newborn. That's incredible. Incredible. The others look after them too, but she's the preferred one. And that's been going on for years.
In 2011, Germaine was seen supporting Elliot, Adelie's newborn, on the surface for his first breaths. In 2012, she was still paying him attention. On the 5th of April 2013, Arthur had just been born, and so she helped him with his first fin strokes. In 2014, the creche got bigger. Romeo and Zoe came to join their elder brothers Elliot and White Flash. This unique career, very rare in animal societies, raises many questions. It was known that among sperm whales, each female could occasionally look after the young of another, but not so regularly. Why this female, Germaine, more than all the others? Her own descendants aren't known, and yet she breastfeeds newborn who are not her own. Like here, in 2017, little Miss Totu, who has just celebrated her first birthday, or young Ali, born in February 2018. Even so, she doesn't abandon the older ones, like Romeo, 5 years old, who regularly comes back to nestle against her. But when the mother returns, it's time to celebrate, because there's nothing like a fine mouthful of milk from his real mother. In this supportive society, the young can explore their world and play. In the middle of the empty ocean, the smallest object becomes a treasure and a source of interest. A tree branch is a real find. Curious about everything, Romeo leaves his game and comes to see the cameraman. He makes a series of very rapid crackling sounds, the meaning of which we don't yet understand. The whales make a large variety of clicks. They are past masters in the art of using sounds that propagate 5 times better in water than in air. How can these similar sounding clicks be distinguished from each other? What behavior links them? And especially, which animal is making which sound when the whales are in a group? A conventional hydrophone, incapable of indicating where an underwater sound comes from, will not allow the team to answer all these questions. So a new device will need to be invented.
Are you on universal time? What are you on?
It's always simpler for the experimenter to be on local time. The team of Professor Hervé Glutin from the Information Sciences and Systems Laboratory of Toulon have developed an experimental prototype that leaves François a little baffled.
This is a tool, right? This is the prototype.
Look, we build scientific instruments without a plan because they didn't exist before, so they have to take form along the way as we build them. So there we attach the hydrophone.
Yes.
You'll have 3 hydrophones to have a triphonic recording.
So the whales are in front of us and they start emitting these codas.
So this will all mix together, but thanks to the good reception of the hydrophones that we have here and to the sound card, which is very quick, we'll be able to separate all these superimposed sounds. All these animals, which can be heard one after the other, will be separate in our recordings, so we'll be able to follow their conversation in a way. The system developed by Hervé Glutin can capture the tiny difference in time it takes for a sound to reach each of the 3 microphones. It can then say exactly what the source of the sound is. So that the recording quality is perfect, interference from noises on the surface and bubbles from diving gear have to be avoided. So the team decides to use rebreathers that are silent, as they don't create bubbles. François sets up the camera and the hydrophones. The camera must be perfectly centered between the microphones to position the source of the sound in relation to the direction of the camera shot, and so identify the whale that makes the clicks. The biologist is going to record 2 types of clicks, which are similar but have different functions. The clicks used by whales to communicate on the surface, and those they use to find squid in the dark depths.
So, I'll stay with you. As soon as we get near, I'll try to move off and to record sounds from the other side. I'll try to get as close as possible, okay?
Yep. Axel Prudhomme, with a very good knowledge of whales, will guide them. He will stay on the surface to show the diver's position to the ship. Ready to go? Ready, go! A large sperm whale is just under the surface, slowly descending to the deeps. François follows it. It's a perfect opportunity to record sounds far from surface interference. 40 meters down, all he can perceive are regular, sharp clicks. The only clue to the whale hunting many hundreds of meters below his flippers. The cetacean regularly emits sharp clicks that propagate in the dense liquid. These clicks are emitted by the right nasal tract, which is no longer used for breathing. Then they are amplified by the enormous resonating chamber of the head to the point that the sperm whale emits the most powerful sound in the animal kingdom. The sound is sent back by anybody present. The whale analyzes the echo to find its prey and determine its size and its speed. It can be said that the whale obtains a sound picture of the environment and that it sees the squid through its ear before catching it and starting to hunt again. François records the clicks coming up from the deep, and also those of the whales communicating on the surface above him. But the whales swim too fast for François, encumbered by his heavy equipment, to record the communication clicks.
They're completely on the surface, so the rebreather is too heavy and does nothing.
We're too slow for this. It's not the right way to use it.
Because there I have to go back to the surface as if I was free diving.
The rebreather turns out to be a handicap for approaching the whales communicating on the surface. François will try to get near while free diving, so as to be silent, light, and mobile with the recorder. The clicks made by Irene aren't echolocalizing clicks, but for communication. They are grouped in rhythmic sequences with a constant number of clicks. Here, 8. These series of clicks make up sound expressions called coda. Irene seems to be talking to the female who is in front of her. Indifferent and silent up until now, Emmy, who can be recognized by her pointed pectoral, sends a series of 8 clicks in her turn, the same as Irene's. Soon, the 2 whales make their clicks at the same time and join together for physical contact. 20 meters from there, 2 other females, Vanessa and Delphine, perform the same ritual, accompanied by the same codas with 8 clicks. Day after day, the team records sound expressions with 8 clicks and find that they are systematically associated with physical contact. But is this always between female adults? The answer doesn't wait for long, because François records the reunion of a newborn of just a week old and his mother, who comes back up from hunting. It's a first. No one has ever recorded the clicks of a newborn. Better still, he too is using codas with 8 clicks.
It's clicking everywhere. I've got this crazy recording. A crazy recording. Mad!
François is sure of it. These sequences of 8 clicks made by the whales signify a request for physical contact. The quality of the recordings and videos that he has made should bring proof.
It's the best office in the world.
But François' enthusiasm isn't enough. It has to be shown that the clicks are really emitted by the couple of mother and child and not by other whales invisible during the dive. The recordings are decoded by computer because the gap between recordings of the same click by each microphone is around a millionth of a second in the azimuth, which corresponds to the delay in question.
The center of the image is the center of the microphones. And each red band...
That's where we calculate the arrival of the signal. And you just saw a red bar. I'll bring it back up. Which came from the mother's head.
Wow! And the band, which is on the snout of the little one, indicates a click made by him then.
Look, 1 or 2 seconds later, what do we see?
Okay, oh yes.
There, it's the little one that made it, right?
Yes, yes.
Hervé's device has kept all its promises. It has made it possible to associate sound sequences with each individual, and not with just any, a newborn Baptiste. This is a fantastic first. Even better, this newborn, just a few days old, is already using all of its family codas.
Here I want you to listen again to this recording of Delphine and Vanessa, which is quite astonishing. At first it was interesting because they were separated. It's quite clear. Look. Ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. And the whole series is in 8 clicks.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I've read that in the Caribbean. It's 5 clicks, or 4 and 1, or 2 and 3. 8 clicks, that seems specifically to be Crooked Mouth Irene's clan, because this sound expression isn't used anywhere else.
Crooked Mouth Irene's clan has then a dialect, properly speaking, of 8 clicks, very different to those of 4 or 5 clicks used by the sperm whales in different oceans. But the whales may not just use little clicks to communicate. The team approach respectfully, but without fear of the animals. When they are 10 meters away, the divers recognize crooked-mouthed Irene, the matriarch. It's not really known why she hit the surface like that. Perhaps to sound the recall and get the clan together. François gets as close as possible to record the incredible blows. Irene, who has seen the divers arrive, doesn't stop. François sees neither flight nor aggression. She seems, on the contrary, to carefully avoid the tiny men who get close to her formidable fin strikes. Irene leaves in her wake strips of skin which are detached by the shocks. Choice morsels to make a genetic analysis, gently, without harassing or wounding the animals, which can happen with samples taken by arrow or with harpoons. Veronique, the biologist, also collects other examples, which she conserves carefully in a sample tube.
There you go. Thanks. So that's number 3, right? It's number 4. Number 4 already.
Each sample is filmed by René, so there is no doubt about the identity of the whale that has lost a strip of skin. During the return to shore, Veronique puts in her report the geographic coordinates, the time of the sample, but especially the name of the animal associated with each sample. Thanks to that information, genetic analysis will specify the parental links which unite each whale to construct the genealogical tree of the family: child, mother, grandmother, and why not, perhaps great-grandmother. To do that, the geneticist needs to know the age of the individual. The team knows that of the young it has seen being born, but doesn't know that of the adult females. As a default, size can give a good indication of age, because the whales continue to grow until they are 45. But under the water, far from the animals, how can the length of a whale be measured? The team may have found an original method. Marks on the ground, regularly spaced every 50 centimeters, a straight and rarely used road, a drone, and suddenly everything's clear. Mark, the pilot, can see at a glance the immense ruler 20 meters long, which was invisible from the ground. By stabilizing the device at a known height, he can put in his image a graded scale corresponding to length on the ground. In theory, this technique should allow the measurement of the whales at sea. But will this method really work at sea? It's time for a test in real conditions.
Wait, I'll get behind you.
Mark flies over the whales, which move rapidly away from the ship.
Can you stabilize?
He has to wait until the animal's well stretched out between two breaths to photograph them.
Can you stabilize it at 10 meters up?
Okay.
Keep it in the center. Yes, very good. Don't move, don't move. Stay stable a moment, and we'll try to measure it. Quite horizontal.
Okay.
Ah, cool.
By using the graded ruler corresponding to the height of the shot taken, François and Marion tried to estimate as precisely as possible the size of the animal.
That's crooked-mouthed Irene. I'm measuring 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 20. 10 meters long. As she's very slightly bent, we'll give it around 10 meters. 10 meters of that one, that makes the average of all the measurements we have of Irene, which is an adult size, but not a giant. Even if she's the head of the group, she's not the biggest. I think that roughback will be much bigger.
We'll have to look where to put the cross-section. Beside the DNA, something like that.
Yes, yes, that's good.
How far?
Around 10 meters, because we're not absolutely centered on that one. And we'll get a more precise measurement on the next photos.
10 meters. Irene isn't very old. Around 20 years, no more. How large can sperm whales grow when they reach 70? The answer may be found at the Museum of Port Louis. It collects evidence of the whale hunting which was practiced for a long time in the Indian Ocean. The jaws of gigantic sperm whales adorn the museum's windows. They have colossal teeth which belong to the giants of another time, the cousins of the mythical Moby Dick, whose power has terrified generations of whalers. Since then, only the memory of these legendary beasts haunts the ocean still. In 1980, when it was decided to stop the hunting, there were only young adults left. The huge, older individuals had all gone. For years, sperm whales fled from ships. Scientists had to be content with signs seen on the surface, furtive spouts, or impressive tail fins heading down to the deeps. Today, the scientists have gone through the mirror to meet the descendants of Moby Dick, who welcomed them into their intimate life. Far from the monsters described by the hunters, men are discovering delicate creatures whose gigantic bodies draw aerial arabesques in the sky of the ocean. Each dive reserves its own surprise. The divers are always ready to welcome the unexpected. There, over there. There's something happening over there. Shall we go over? Okay. The whales are in candle position just below the surface. They are sleeping peacefully. René goes discreetly into the middle of the dozing clan. His attention is attracted by the strange behavior of White Streak. The young male seems to dance around Elliot, his usual playmate, when suddenly he takes off towards the surface. What does he want to show his companion, who joins him? White streak hits harder, projecting strips of skin which scatter around him. So he offers Veronique a great opportunity to collect skin flakes, which will let his DNA be analyzed to know his family links. The bits of skin are prepared for the laboratory. Each one is preserved in alcohol so the DNA doesn't degrade. 25 sperm whales have been sampled in this expedition. It's beside the sea, but far from Mauritius, that the genetic analysis is made. The University of Western Brittany houses the Biogem Laboratory, directed by Dr. Jean-Luc Jung. This is the only French laboratory specialized in the genetic analysis of marine mammals. However, for Jean-Luc, sperm whales remain exceptional animals because they have been studied very little. And the 80 samples collected by the team are an exceptional opportunity, even more so because these samples come from the same clan of which the individuals are well identified. A unique chance to draw up the genealogical tree of a family of sperm whales for the first time in the world. A few months after making the whale skin samples, François finds Jean-Luc at the genetic laboratory. So here's a table which recapitulates it all. What you see in red is what we estimate to be parent-child relations. What you see in red. There.
Irene Arthur.
Irene Arthur.
That's good.
Look, I marked it for you. Irene Arthur. Clearly, we've identified them as a parent-child relation.
Lucy Romeo. You've got in bold. Elliot Adderley.
That's it.
White streak. Delphine. That works well. Zoe. Caroline.
That's what you expected from the field.
It's great.
Going back from the newborn towards their unknown ancestors, the geneticist confirms that Ali and Darren, born in 2018, are respectively the sons of Mina and Lucy. But what no one could suspect is that the two mothers were themselves the daughters of Roughback. And so, the pieces of the puzzle come together. The genealogical tree of the large family of crooked-mouth Irene is drawn, showing unequivocally that family links structure the clan from a distant great-grandmother who is common to all. To all? No, except for Claire, who belongs to a whole other line, suggesting that there are indeed other clans that are to be found off the coast of Mauritius. The mission reaches its end. Encouraged by the new genetic knowledge, the team is eager to once again join the family of crooked-mouth Irene. But what everyone hopes when they scan the horizon is to discover new sperm whales which are not part of crooked-mouth Irene's clan. Do these individuals exist? Are they in a clan of their own? How many are there? The team approaches a group of whales which can be seen in the distance. Surprise! François doesn't recognize any of Irene's family. Even better, in the middle of them, there is a newborn, just 3 meters long. There's a female who still carries her umbilical cord. The baby is a few hours old. Her head is still white, and her tail fin still partly unfolded. She doesn't move far away from her mother and her nannies. Swept about by the waves, she can only just swim, but she sets off to discover her enormous world. It is a new clan and with a newborn. But this wonderful find brings up many questions. So, what are these whales doing here? What are their family links, their social hierarchy? Have they come from afar to shelter in this zone sheltered from storms? Will they soon leave, or have they come to stay? It will take years more for the team to know the secrets of the sperm whales of Mauritius. It will take years more among them to recount the end of this story. While waiting, the newborn has gone back to her mother. She doesn't leave her. She doesn't know yet how to drink her milk. She's still so clumsy that it falls out of her mouth. But she bears the hopes of this family and of a whole people, the great people of sperm whales.